Hey guys, I want to welcome you to the weekly Wednesday for the Financial Freedom newsletter, where every week, every Wednesday, we delve into something inspirational, motivational, something excerpt taken from the Financial Freedom weekly newsletter. Wherever you are, if you're listening on Spotify, on iTunes, Google, be sure to click the like, subscribe, share, comment. And without ado, let's get into the show. Hey guys, welcome to this week's podcast episode for the Financial Freedom Podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Christopher Liu, and I'm really excited for today's episode. We have Leah Rae Getts, and she helps transition into coaching, become influencers, thought leaders, and I'm really excited about this conversation. Life coaching is a burgeoning field. So, Leah, welcome.
Hi, Dr. Christopher Liu. It's a pleasure to be here. Yes, this is a booming industry, and a lot of professionals are starting to make that transition and even just exploring that transition to see if it's a better option for them to get out of the hustle and the grind and the stress of their traditional workplace.
Yeah, tell us how you got started and your backstory, and we'll get into the conversation.
Yeah, so I was actually a registered nurse. That's what I went to school for. Through that journey, I ended up going into healthcare IT side of things and started traveling. And eventually, after 10 years of praying for children, we adopted our son. I started staying home, but my husband was still doing the traveling work. And after praying for kids for 10 years, being a single mom, most of the time while he was off traveling, did not sit well. So we started looking for options for bringing in income online. That led us to online marketing. We explored everything. We dove in really deep. We got started with affiliate marketing. We learned how to generate leads, build an audience, engage with that audience, sell to that audience. And from there, we got into selling our own courses and coaching and just really exploded. And so we've been in this space, I believe, for about 7 years now, I think. So we've been here a while. We were able to retire Todd, I think about 18 months into our online business. And we've just been growing and loving it since then. It's been a huge opportunity for us as a family. We now have a second son, and he's never experienced parents working outside of the home, which is awesome.
Yeah, awesome. So it sounds like you turned your ability using technology and leverage social media marketing into courses, which is kind of the blueprint for a lot of influencers interested in going your route. So, we'll get into it, because one thing is, we have 5 ideas or main ideas. And so one thing is that, so we'll talk about traffic and what's the best strategy that's working now. Is it Facebook groups, Twitter Spaces, TikTok ads?
So we have it's really an ecosystem. So there's not like this singular thing, but there's an ecosystem, and there's a lot of pieces, and there's a lot of ways to optimize the conversions that you're getting into your offer. And so the biggest challenge is just the initial traffic for most people, unless you have a podcast that's wildly successful, or you've got a YouTube channel with 1 million subscribers. Most people don't start this journey with that. It would be great if we could wave a magic wand, but that's not the reality. So for a lot of people, the best way to get traction out of the gate is to first make sure that your offer is really fine-tuned. It's ready to sell. It's got a really good marketing message and copy. And then you got really good sales systems in place so you can drive paid traffic and actually convert and make a profit. We love the combination of paid traffic plus content marketing. Especially in the Facebook ecosystem, one boosts the other. And it takes, I think, 7 to 12 connections with a brand for someone to be willing to make a purchasing decision. And in Facebook, if you run Facebook ad, like what we teach our clients to do, run a Facebook ad as part of the follow-up process, you're going to get them into a Facebook group. In that Facebook group, you're going live and you're giving value, but they're also told to follow your personal profile where you're posting reels and you're doing other content. So in addition to all of the email follow-up and sort of the traditional ways of marketing, you're also really, it's like an echo chamber in the Facebook ecosystem, just hitting them to like every day, multiple pieces of content. So they go from ice cold to red hot really quick, and you can close the sale. So.
Awesome. Well, which brings us to the next question. So when you talk about, I love this idea of the ecosystem and long-term, short-term. How do you generate quality traffic that converts? What are your thoughts on that?
It's really, you have to first understand that sometimes in this space, people have this wrong idea that all of the leads have to be super qualified and all this kind of stuff. The reality is top of funnel, which is where the initial lead flow is, should be wide, right? That should collect people. And then your systems and processes are supposed to filter it down and qualify them, right? So your top of funnel should be pretty broad, and that should be getting people interested. Lead magnet ads work really well. We frequently test ads and results internally and also with our clients. And while, yes, you can run a VSL or do some more complicated things to try to book calls right out of the ad, what most people are having the best return on these days is just lead gen, and then having really dialed in systems to book qualified sales calls. And so a freebie, a PDF guide, an MP3 audio, a video training, something you give away, and if from an ad that moves people, gets them the lead generated, they're on your email list, they're now entering your Facebook group, you're doing all of these things, optimize the return. A lot of people have this initial idea of just you turn on traffic and it flows through this one funnel and then you make sales. Yes, that can work, but the reality is you're missing a lot of potential sales if you only have that singular funnel and that one way for them to come to you. We help our clients to set up like a 3-pronged funnel or 3 separate funnels that same traffic is getting pushed through, leveraging the Facebook group with direct outreach, with the traditional VSL and everything else, so that you're really shaking that tree hard and getting as much of that fruit to drop as possible to get the highest return on that ad spend.
Yeah, I love this idea, this flywheel, and this whole idea where like social media and the marketing and leads which spawned this whole area of online courses and coaching. The other thing is generating automated leads and sales.
Yes. That's our bread and butter. There's a lot of people out there who teach how to hunt people down in Facebook groups and message them trying to make sales. Does this work? Yes. However, it is incredibly time intensive, and especially for physicians, it's just silly. Let's be real. Your time is way more valuable than the couple bucks it would take in a Facebook ad to hit the people that need you. So Facebook ads, a lead gen funnel with really good systems to book qualified sales calls, that's where you need to be. It just doesn't make sense to spend 8 hours a day hunting people who may or may not be interested in Facebook Messenger when you can just run an ad and generate leads for $1, $2, $3 a lead. And you can just, actually take sales calls and do the different pieces that have to be done by you.
Speaking of physicians, a lot of, you had you're an early adopter and got started early, got success. And, people after the pandemic, they're thinking, their time is very valuable. They want to switch, but, they don't know how to do this. So what tips do you have, if, like a psychiatrist, physician, they want to start their brand new and they're starting from scratch?
Ooh, that's a great question. So from a legal, so people like us, we're going to teach you how to put together the program and how to sell it, right? There are some things to think about for people who do therapy and licensed things that are now transitioning into coaching. So I would first just encourage them to explore what the differences are from the legal stuff, right? Because I can't tell you what that is, but I know there's some stuff. So number one, do some Googling and figure out what that looks like for you. Number two, is to really figure out your passion. And especially for physicians, there's probably a million different angles or directions that you could go in successfully. Like we have clients who've gone into like gut health and becoming online gut health specialists to decrease chronic disease, and to really focus in on this. There's a lot of different areas, but I would really encourage you to figure out what's your passion and what's the result that people are looking for, because people don't look to decrease inflammation. That's a means to an end. What they're looking for is to decrease inflammation, to have less pain, to be more agile, to have more energy, to do all of these other things, right? So defining what that result is that you want to help people to achieve. And then honestly, start creating content, start getting yourself out there while you're figuring out what the program is. A big challenge or a big pitfall that physicians and really everybody falls into is they sit back and just research, right? And I assume it's probably worse with the physician population is they want all the data, right? And so they sit back and they just research and they're like, well, I'm going to craft this amazing program. And so they sit back for 6 months creating this program. And the entire time they never built an audience or did anything to put themselves out there. Whereas instead, start creating content, start doing some of these things as soon as you know the angle that you're going towards, what's going to be your focus. As soon as you know that, start building that audience, because audience growth is the thing that takes the longest. And you can even do a live launch of your program and create it as you go. So getting yourself out there sooner than later is much better. Connecting with people like us to teach you and walk you through the step-by-step on how to do this is going to save you a lot of time. But yeah, just putting yourself out there and not getting stuck in analysis paralysis, which a lot of people get stuck down that hole.
And what do you, one question I get often is from clients is they quit their job and then they want to start this, they want to create a 7-figure course or coaching business from scratch in a year, which, that's kind of unrealistic. So what are your thoughts on, building this on the side, being disciplined, creating content? How should they go about that?
Have you seen my reel for today? Because it's specifically like on this topic. Super important that you have revenue while you're building this. One of the silliest things that I see people do is they're like, I'm burning the boats. I quit my job. I've got 2 months worth of savings and I'm going to get this. And you're like, you've never sold anything online. You have no list. You don't understand copywriting or anything. And you have 2 months to replace your income or your family. Like, such a bad idea. Please build this on the side. You're going to need money to get a coach. You're going to need money to pay for ads, for systems. Trying to build this from a place of lack where you don't have the revenue to invest into your business is not only going to be incredibly painful, it's going to stagnate everything. I can't tell you the amount of people that I've connected with. And at the time, they're like, oh, well, I don't have the money to do this right. They can't get coaching. They can't get systems. And they're struggling. Well, instead of taking a pause, getting a job, fixing the situation so they can do that, they drag this out for months and sometimes years until 6 months, 18 months later, I ended up reconnecting with them in some way and touching base. And now they're in dire straits because they've wasted all of this time on energy trying to do something that they didn't have the resources to do. And so I'm like, just pause, fix the finances, and then pick this up in 3 or 4 months when you can actually put money into your business. And then you can be profitable in a couple months, right? But yes, don't burn the boats in that sense. Burn it mentally, but have a job until you've successfully replaced your income and you can, keep a roof over your kid's head.
Yeah, I love that. It's kind of work on your full-time income on the side and then build it up. And then when you're ready to launch, then you can, quit your job. The other thing is talking about, especially what are some best niches to market your offer in, any niches like oversaturated, ones to avoid. Tell us more.
Ooh, great question. I hear this often. And the reality is at this point, everything is a red ocean. And so trying to find your blue ocean, if you find a blue ocean in today's space, it probably means it's really hard to be profitable there. Okay. So the reality is you're going to be in a place where there's competition. What that means for you is you have to be on point with your marketing. Yes, your program should be great and it should give people great results. But the reality is the success of your business, it's not the awesomeness of your program. The success of your business is your ability to sell it. So now the more competition, that means you have to come up with a unique message, having a different spin on what you're doing, essentially, and positioning it in a way that makes people think twice. That's how you create your own blue ocean in a red ocean area. Okay. So don't go out there trying to find a place that there's no one. You go where you have your passion, where you have your expertise, where there's ability to make some money. And then you craft a message and you create a frame and an angle to it that allows you to stand out above the crowd. So a lot of folks will they'll jump in and they honestly, they'll just kind of go anywhere and everything. You have to have a specific person that you're helping getting a specific result, whether that's biggest challenge, life coaches or mindset coaches is like, I'm going to help everyone do everything, or I'm going to help people who are in transition. What does that mean? Like in reality, that doesn't mean anything. If it's like I'm helping recently divorced moms to create a plan B and start living their new life, that's a something. Like that means something. The vague transition stuff is not unless you're Tony Robbins, you can't do that. So don't compare yourself to a guru if you're not yet at guru status. Get really super specific and then work with a coach to create an angle that helps you stand out in whatever space you're in. Just sort of on a side note, let's be real, the economy sucks. Okay, so anybody who says that it doesn't, and paying attention. So the economy sucks. However, the one thing to look at with that, it's even more appealing to have something that gets people an ROI. Right? So if you're teaching folks different things that increases their productivity at work, so they're getting healthier and now they're selling more or they're doing this, that, or the other thing, that's awesome. They're looking for ways to increase their revenue. So if you can think about, number one, who has money? Like I just brought in a client over the weekend who her initial idea as a life coach was to help disabled people feel like they have purpose. I said, I totally get your heart with this. I think that's wonderful. But from a business perspective, if you're trying to be a coach for people who are disabled, not a good idea. Like if you separate this from one business that's serving people who don't have the money to pay for you, separate it out, focus the business side on people who have revenue, disposable income to spend, and then have a separate 401c3 where you're giving awesomeness to the people who your heart really sings, who you really want to help. So separate it so that you can make revenue. Otherwise, you're going to be stuck in this place trying to serve people who can't ever afford you. So hopefully that helps when choosing a niche and how to figure this out.
Yeah, that's interesting. I love this idea where you're talking about stand out and basically be an N of one where people can't copy you or replicate you. You have. And so I love that and kind of like that unique angle and spin. The other question is, how can people starting out predict if their new online course or coaching program is going to sell? How much, and we'll talk about pricing in a little bit later.
Yeah. So when it comes to market research, okay, you got to do some market research. Number one, you should be looking at what's out on the marketplace currently. What are people currently buying? Great ways to do this. You can look at Udemy. Don't look at the pricing at Udemy because it's horrible. However, what you can do is you can see topics related to what you want to do and look at how many reviews there are so that you don't get to see how many sales they've had. But if they've got thousands of reviews, hey, that's a good sign. Or you're seeing Facebook ads from people who are offering something similar. And not just new people all the time, but you're seeing the same people over and over again. That means they're able to have a profit in their business to continue to run ads. That's a really good sign. I'm totally forgot what the initial question was. Market research. So make sure it's going to sell. So those are some good things to just sort of learn the landscape. When it comes to the specifics, it's great to have an audience that you can work with. So if you have an audience that you've built up around a generic topic, in a Facebook group, and then you can test your concepts and ideas on them. You should be going live in your group regularly. And in those lives, you can be teaching and using some, sharing your frame, your marketing message, your strategies just within your free group, just to see how it's received, right? Did they really latch on to this? Did they love this? How excited were they? All of those things gives you the feedback to help make a better program. Make sure that people are going to actually be interested in purchasing when it's time to launch.
Yeah, I love that. It's such a fascinating conversation, and I love how you made Russell Brunson's kind of model very successful. How do people contact you, follow you, reach out to you, and look into working with you?
Yeah, absolutely. So Digital Trailblazer, we are everywhere. Our main website, Digital Trailblazer. We're on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, everywhere. And we will find you if you reach out to us that way. Our biggest community that we nurture and work with all the time is in our Facebook group. So if you find our business page, you'll find our group from there. And it's we do live training every week, and it's high quality. We've had people, just freebie people in our group, message us and say they made $4,500 this month just from the free content that we give in the group. So I highly suggest joining our group and going from there. We've got all kinds of resources. We can chat, see what's going on, see how we can help you out, what freebies, look at some more long-term help. We can lay it all out for you.
Yeah, and for all the audience out there, let's thank for this wonderful, insightful conversation. Be sure to check the social media on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, as well as check out digitaltrailblazer.com. And with that, let's thank Leah for coming on and providing a lot of alpha and a lot of great content.
Awesome. Thank you so much. It was a pleasure to be here.
I hope you really enjoyed that wonderful, inspirational, motivational piece. Again, wherever you are listening, if you liked it, be sure to like, comment, share, subscribe. We're on everywhere: Spotify, iTunes, Google, Amazon, Audible. And without much ado, be sure to thank this show's sponsors, and we'll see you next week.